now my pleasure to introduce Vikash Mishra, who is the head of the Electric Mobility Initiative. And Vikash has said recently on Twitter, I'm not on Twitter, but someone told me you said this, said that we should aim for 100x growth in electric mobility between now and 2022. Let's hear how we can do that. Thanks, Vikash. Please welcome him.
Good afternoon, everyone. The way I understand electric mobility in India is going to happen, or the whole framework of electric mobility in India is, if E stands for electric, it gives the benefit in terms of 4 E's, and I'll talk about that. If C stands for challenge, it also has 4 C's, but there's a path forward as well, and there are 4 P's to that as well. And let me explain my 4 E's and 4 C's and 4 P's. By going electric, the first E that everyone talks about is the environment benefits. It's well known emissions is going to come down by 37% if I quote the Rocky Mountain Institute report, if all passenger vehicles become electric. So that's the first E on emissions. Number 2 is on the energy security for India. Last financial year, the import bill for crude oil and gas was $80 billion. By switching to electric, you are going to reduce a significant portion of your import bill on that. That's the energy security part. The third part is on the efficiency part, where electric vehicle is almost 2 times more efficient than the ICE vehicle. If you move to a world of a battery, then the battery can be used in the second life for storage, and by getting more storage capacity, your intake for renewables increases. That was your intake for renewables is more efficient, so it enhances efficiency. The third part, if the battery is also used for a vehicle to grid integration, then it helps in terms of efficient distribution of the power as well. That's my third part. And the fourth and the most important was E for economy. It's good for economy, and I'd like to quote some numbers of how this economy is going to get benefited if we move to electric. If we look at the benefits that a consumer gets by using the two-wheelers, example, I was talking to Ather Energy guys yesterday. They told me that a typical consumer of a two-wheeler in India spend 2,000 rupees per month. And if they use Ather two-wheeler vehicle now, they pay 700 rupees per month, irrespective of how much distance you travel, irrespective of how much power you consume from the home. So there's a benefit of 15,000 rupees per month for per two-wheeler thing. By 2030, the number of two-wheelers being sold in India will be 30 million. If 15,000 rupees is being saved by per two-wheeler guy, we are talking about 4,500 crores being saved on the fuel cost for public spending. And you can use that money for public savings or public investment. If you look from passenger goods point of view, the logistic industry is $200 billion industry of the road share transport. And 60% of that's the fuel cost, the diesel cost, largely. And by moving from diesel-based economy to the electrons-based economy, you are saving potentially around 80%. So that whole potential of your logistics industry is around $80 to $100 billion. So it's a huge benefit to economy. The challenges in terms of the 4 challenges, I talked about 4 C's. One is the cost, but cost in terms of upfront cost, that is higher for electric vehicle now, and as you've heard from my fellow panelists from James and from BNF there, is right now at $200 per kilowatt hour, is going to come down to 100, and it's going to come down to 62 if I heard them correctly. If 50% of that is the cost, is a huge, the cost parity will come. And once the cost parity will come, all those upfront cost discussions will go out of the window. And you will have a huge TCO advantage of electric vehicles over other vehicles. The second is about convenience. People like to believe that they want to go out and find a charging station anywhere. But with the right support from the government, public-private partnership, I think those problems can be solved, but the convenience is something that is one of the challenges for adoption of electric mobility. And the third is consumer awareness. People are not aware what are the advantages of EV. There are myths going around in the narrative uh, that has to be kind of countered. And we, as the Electric Mobility Initiative, has started a platform called Go Electric, which will raise the awareness of electric mobility in India uh, through the philanthropy work. Fourth is about the commitment. Commitment from the government is moving in the right direction. We have seen FAME 2 policy. We have seen some state government coming there. But there's a commitment from OEMs as well. We cannot solve the supply side issues. We cannot solve this adoption issues only focusing on the demand side, but we have to solve those issues on the supply side as well. That was my 4C. Now coming to 4Ps, what is the path forward for adoption of electric mobility? First is the right policy framework. While we have the government at the central level launching FAME 2 and other policy initiatives, there are state governments launching various state EV policies, but cities are at the intersection of central and state government where the actual action will happen. And our cities need to take lead in terms of getting the adoption increased through having a vision, the goal, the right framework, right institutional mechanism at the city level to promote EVs in their respective cities. And I'm sure if that happens, we will see more adoption happening at the city levels. The second thing from the P is from the pilots. India is a large country to change at one go. Let's focus on cities. If just one city is a big thing to change, let's focus on route. If one route is a big thing to change, let's focus on sub-route of it. But let's focus on something that we can go complete 100% electric, see the visibility of it, see the impact of it, replicate the success, and multiply from 1 to 5 to 50 to 500. If that is the approach we take, then we definitely are going to see the adoption happening in the country. Third is in terms of the private and public partnership. I don't think government can walk alone in this journey. The private players has to come. They have a big money. They have a big knowledge of moving things faster. And I think by setting up the charging infrastructure, if we can do that in a public-private partnership way, it will go a long way in setting up the electric vehicle at different cities. So I think the private partnership with the public is very important. And 4 is all about the public awareness piece, which I think is needs to be done. I think there are people who are willing to move to electric. There are consumers who are moving to electric. And if they understand the economic sense of it, if they understand the business end of it, if they understand the environment benefits out of it. So I think there's a lot need to be done on public awareness as well. If I sum it up all, I'll say that if the prediction on the battery prices is correct, and which I truly believe is correct, because last 8 years shows that it's moving very, very aggressively downwards. There's a disagreement among different reports, whether it's 62 or 73 or 75, I don't care. Everyone agrees that it's coming downwards, which is why I'm very, very excited about the sector. If that happens, then all the challenges we talk about, the cost part of it, the convenience, if we set up the charging for part of it, then all the challenges can be overcome. On the policy side, one thing I think is missing is all the FAME 2 is talking about the fiscal incentives, what MOT is doing about the non-fiscal incentives by green licensing, what's missing on the supply side policy. Like in California, we have ZEV mandate, where a certain percentage of your production and sales has to be electric. In China, we have NEV, new energy vehicles. Why can't in India we have SEV, Shun emission vehicles framework? For the people who don't understand Shun, from international people, Shun means zero in India. I think the supply side issues need to be resolved. If we could have some kind of framework around that, I think we can see a lot of more supplies, and that will really be helpful in terms of increased adoption. I truly believe that 100% adoption is possible by 2030, and if we all, government, civil society, and business come together, it's definitely possible. Thank you.